Hi friends, this is Hemant Segmentpalli and have done project book lending management system and have developed this project based on MVC pattern and let me briefly explain you what MVC design pattern stands for. Like MVC, the name itself says so there are three parts. One is model, the other one is view, the other thing is controller. So uh, uh, what exactly is this model view controller? Generally, coming to any application, you can see these three parts like model view controller. Coming to view, as an user, you interact with the system. There's a view where you can interact directly with the system, where you can press some buttons or where you can enter some, do some operations. These are all things. There's a view, and what is the model does? The model is the exact place where the core business logic like validations and some core business logic is written and some data which is being stored that is being done in this model part. And coming to the control part mainly is an interaction between the view and the model. Whatever operations are being done in the view, like the controller, suppose you are clicking a button or you are entering some text in text field area of a view, then these operations, like it says to the model that a view has a button has been clicked. So it's the main role of this control is an event handler. It handles the events which are being raised by the model, which are being raised by the view, sorry, which are being raised by the view. These events are handled by these events are handled by the controller. It handles in such a way like it communicates to the model that a button is being clicked. So on clicking the button, what is the action to be done? Like if is there any validation thing, then it does validation thing in the model part, and the model intimates the result back either directly to the view in a if it's a view area, or it says it gives an intimation to the controller, and the controller in return says to the view. So this is how the the control act is being performed. And as I have said you already, what the model does is a business logic, and the data part is being written, and the data is stored. And data story is done by the model part, and model view in the view part we are interacting with the system. This is what a model view controller is according to my point of view. And coming to my project, and as I have said you that my project is book lending management system, and in my project I have the main thing of my project is the three parts are like client, books, and lending information. And in the clients, the client, what a client has, like client has a ID, he has a name, and he has a status. He has a status like, is the client being present in my system, or he is being deleted? If he is in my system, then uh, it's it's zero. If he's deleted logically, then he's one. I place it as one. Then in coming to books, each book has an ID, each book has a title, each book has information saying whether it's being lent or it's not lent, like is it available for other persons, or is it not available for other to lend the book. And in the lending information, what is the thing which you have in the lending information is like a borrow ID, which a user gets while borrowing. Then his client, his ID, there's a client ID, and the book ID which displays what book is was lent, and the date when the book was sold, sorry, the date when the book was issued, and the date when book was written back to the system. And the fine amount, let me explain you the fine amount. The fine amount, how I calculate is like, I took a criteria like, I lend a book for no user or no client is issued more than three books. So I made it like, no client is being issued more than three books, and the time period for returning of a book without a fine is like 14 days. After 14 days for a book, he's being charged. He's being first given a grace time of 24 hours after 14 days. Then after that grace time, if he exceed more than 24 to from that grace time up to 48 hours, from 24 to 48 hours, he is being charged $1. And for the next 24 hours and so on, he is being charged $1 and so on. This is how I calculated the fine amount. And coming to my project, as I said, you I am doing with MVC. So I am describing here the model parts, the view, the control. The model part is the model classes are being stored here in this model package and control package, and view package has various views like book view, client view, and lent view. Uh, these are the things, and this is the main part from where my code goes on. It's from the book lending management system, but this is how navigation goes on. And coming to this page, this is the first page of my application. So if I run my project too, you get this page. And coming to my project, let me explain you how my project works. As I have said, you there are three parts like client, works, and learning information. So as a new client, you get into this, and we just create a client. Suppose let the client ID be 999 let his first name be some uh, uh, U Q Q Q sorry W C. Then there are few books in my library which I have already created. So let me show you what are all the books, like the OOD, test 1, test 2 1, test book, algorithms, C sharp, Java, operating system. All these books are being there in my library. Let me create a new book. So let's add a book. uh, let its ID be some 678, and let the book title be some something, say some B. So let us lend a book to a particular user. Let his ID, let his borrowing ID be some 01, and let us give him the book which he recently created. The information 0 says that the book is not being sold to anyone, and no one has taken the book. 678 named B. So let's give it to let's give it to the recent person which we have. 999UQWR, to whom we are giving the book. So we are lending him the book. So we have lent him the book. So let's see what's the current lend status. So 678B and 1 says it is being lent. And recently you have already seen before doing this, I just lent a book to named OOD to one person, like the ABC, with client ID 123 ABC. I have lent book, and now I have lent the book B to some QR person. This is how I am displaying this thing. And coming to show all books, where the book ID, book title, and the lend status is being displayed. See, these are the book IDs, these are the books, this is the lend information. 1 indicates the book is lent, and 0 indicates the book is not lent to any person. And I have shown you. Show current lends gives you who are all the current persons to whom I lend the book. Historical lens shows for a particular book, for how to program Java. These were the historical lens. One person named one person with client ID 1 hasn't written the book. After the 14 days period of time, so as I have said you how I calculated the fine amount. The fine amount now is $6 for him. So for the rest of the books, for the rest persons, like for the same person, for the rest persons, it's who have written the book, it's $0. So let's see for operating systems. Let's see for the operating systems. Let's see client 83 and 13. They have written them on, so it's 0 for client 80. So those who have borrowed within the particular specified period of time, and who have fulfilled the results are being charged 0. So let's see for client B. See the client B now. Uh, he has just client 999. Sorry, client 999 has just borrowed the book B, which is whose book ID is 678. Whose book ID is 678. He has just borrowed the book. So the time when you return the book, like if you now I'm not returning the book, so I have no entry for the date in, so there's no information for the fine amount. So let's return a book. Let's return a book. Say uh, is 678 book, 1 and is 513. So the client with ID 999, the book ID 678, and the date of taking the book was 513 2018. Now I'm returning it. So let's see. Let's see. See as a should let's check who is the person with the client ID 999. For that thing, for the thing, let's first see into show all clients. In show all clients, the first name is UQ and the last name was WR. The last name is WR. The first name is UQ and the last name is WR, and 0 indicates the client is logically being present, and that is he isn't being deleted from our system. So that's why the status is 0. So UQWR, you can even search the client with his first name and last name, like UQ is the first name and WR is the last name. So ID for that person is 999. So UQWR person, uh, he has returned a book named now named 678. So see Shawlbacks. He has returned the book 678. That's why its lent status is 0. It is changed from 1 to 0. Show the current lens. So only one book that is being in the system is OOD, which is not being written. Uh, See all the historical lens. So I have written the book. Let me show you. Let me show you this one. Yeah, this book B. Now you see the date in the written. Now only I have written the book, so its fine amount is 0. That's how the fine amount is calculated, and I have showed you historical length information too. And regarding uh, who are the current lengths, see OOD book with book ID 1, it's being lent. Let's return that one too. Let's return the book. OOD client ID 123, book number 11, which is being taken on 513 to 18 is being written. So let's see. Let's just see what are the historical lengths now. Historical lengths, and let's go to the book OOD. The OOD book is just now being returned by client ID 123. So fine amount is 0. He has just taken it and he has just written it. That's it. This is how the historical lens this how the historical lens thing is being displayed. And coming to the learning information, shows you what are the things, like what is a book being lent, what is the client ID, what's the borrow ID, what's the date out, and what's the date in, what's the fine amount. These are the things in the lending information, and with the fine amount you get to see all these things. This is the main thing of my project, and this is how my project was. And coming to the implementation parts and all these things, I have one interface for controller. This is a controller interface, wherein there are classes like sorry, this is a controller interface, and wherein like in the controller interface you have for client, books, and for learning information, everything, every abstract methods are being in this controller interface, because the controller acts between the model and the view. So that's the reason I have taken everything in this controller interface, like create new client, create new book, get current clients, get books, return book name, get different days, replace return selected, get return client ID list, client taken books, create new token information. These are all the things in client controller interface. We are implementing this controller interface in this class named controller interface implementation class. Mm, uh, Controller interface implementation class. In this class, we are like get lending information, create new book regarding books, and regarding a new client if it's is being created. Those all methods are being written here, like in order to interact with the model, so as to interact with the model part. If there's some uh, if there is some person who's trying to create a new book, then it will be uh, informed like create a new book, or create a new client, get lending information. For that, the file, suppose here it's transfer, the lending information details are being collected from the file named lending information.txt files. uh, Files of book, book lending management system. The files like lending information.txt. Here is where now the files are, and where I get the things. And here the client, in client.txt, I get the client information update. Everything is being stored in this client.txt. Whenever you do anything, it's being set here. Like you are adding a new client, the client is being set, and a new GW. These are things being going on in the client, and books.txt and everything. This is how it goes on. And coming to the view interface, and this is what the view interface. The view interface has a link to the controller implementation. In the view interface, you get the control part. That's why I have written this get controller public. You establish a link, like you get the control instructions. Like if I suppose on clicking a button, the events are being handled by the controller. So you get like the button is being clicked, then what's the next operation to be performed, or if or in case the controller gives some information to the view, that information, for transferring that information, we have established this link get controller. And in the view interface implementation, we are creating a new object for establishing a link between the controller and the view. That is being with the controller interface implementation class. Controller interface implementation class, like for everything, for client, for creating new work, you can interact with the controller with the help of a view. From view, you are interacting. From view, you are interacting with the controller, and from view you are interacting with the controller. And from coming to the model interface, in model interface in model interface also, you have view, you have a view part. uh, you have a view instance. From in model instance, in model interface, you are getting a link, or you are setting a link to the view interface. From view, you get the controller. So this is how we are establishing the links. And coming to the main thing, like these are things present in the view books. These are the classes, like add a book, historical lens, lend a book, return a book, show all books, show current lend books. These are the things in the lending information in the books, and these are things in the client. And these are things in the lending information .java. This is how it starts from the main method. Suppose you want to create a client, then here it is. You go to create client, then you go to controller. When you press it, then you go to controller. In controller, you implement in the control part, you get this one. From view, you go to controller. So in controller main part, this is what being generated, like you interact with the controller. And to add a book, suppose in add a book, in add a book controller, in add a book, in add a book view, whenever you get into add a book, suppose in add a book, first of all, you create, you in add a book, you create a link with the controller by mentioning the controller object. here over here, and you are initializing the components, and this all goes on by default. And coming to the interaction, the uh, model. Here this is a part where you interact with the model, and from the controller using using the model part. In the controller and the model part, you set the name of the book and you create a new book. And, this is how it goes on. Set ID, get books, and this is how my code goes on. And coming to my diagram, and the main this is the main thing of my diagram. Like, let me show you. This is a model interface. From the model interface you go to view interface. Like the model interface depends on the view interface, then view depends on controller depends on the model. All the classes, the model classes, book, client, learning information are associated with the model interface implementation class. And similarly, the view classes are associated with the view interface implementation class. And this is all my this is all my project. This is all my project is. I hope I have done it in a good way. And thank you.